Welcome to the Coaching Collective podcast, episode 6. Today, we are graced with the presence of Aaron Burke, who is in fact my coach. So Aaron is a bodybuilder originally from the UK, currently living in Thailand. And I've been coached by Aaron myself for about 6 to 8 months now. Currently 4 weeks out from a show, which is pretty exciting, looking to hopefully turn pro this year as well. So without further ado, welcome Aaron. Let us know a little bit about yourself and we'll go from there.
Thank you very much. Very, very happy to be here. 3 weeks out from a show. Get your dates right.
3. Man, that goes way too quick. It
Dude,
was like
it's gone so
it was
fast.
like 9 yesterday.
Unbelievably
Yeah.
fast. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it really does. It feels like that. This one has been
Yeah.
the fastest one ever. It's
Mm.
ridiculous. But yeah, anyway, well, I'll tell you about that in a minute. But yeah, I'm Aaron Burke. I live out here currently in Thailand, in Bangkok. Previous to that, I was in China for about 7 years, where I started my bodybuilding and coaching career over there, randomly enough. Before that, I was from South Devon, a town called Paignton in south of England,
Yeah.
where I was. Most of my background is in rugby, martial arts, stuff like that. Played rugby the vast majority of my life, and that's where I eventually fell towards the gym. Started training in the off seasons for rugby purely just to be a bit faster and stronger. Fell in love with it, got the bug for it, started training other teammates, and got the bug for the kind of the coaching PT inside of things through that. And yeah, and I just kind of never really fell out of that groove. It was always my fallback thing, just to always just found it very, very interesting because it's just such an ever evolving, fast evolving industry as far as health and fitness in general. So there's always something new to learn there. And yeah, I just really liked that journey. And it just built up over years and took a couple of years off from my own personal health and fitness while I moved over to China and just kind of, that was my first time deciding to leave England with the intentions of probably never going back and really restarting fresh. And so a couple of years, I just getting, into the swing of living somewhere else and learning new languages and all that kind of stuff. And then built up my coaching business again online over there and turned into probably one of the most well-known online coaches in China amongst all the foreigners there, because there's not too many guys doing it, I guess. So it's kind of easy to get a good reputation for it as long as you're producing results. 2019, came over to Thailand. A mate of mine, Rocco, brought me over here and he said to me, "You need to start bodybuilding, like seriously bodybuilding." And I was like, I don't know if I want to do it competitively. I'm not 100% sold. I was like 50-50. I'm like, looks amazing. Like all the respect in the world for bodybuilders. But I was like, I kind of have a nice, healthy balance of lifestyle and being fit and healthy and looking good. And he said, just come over here, come and meet a few people, do a bit of training and see what you think. So I went to Thailand, joined him with a training camp with Andy Cunningham, which was Lee Priest's training partner.
Yeah.
He was doing a training camp over here with a few of the pros from Korea and Thailand and a couple guys from Egypt. Just joined in and just fell in love with the whole thing. Just the whole experience, the atmosphere, the people. I was like, oh yeah, I need to just keep doing this. This is insane. And then I was introduced to Vigorous Steve and started off just doing a blood work consult with him and just having a bit of a chat. We discussed the potential and like, is it worth me really pursuing this at the age of 30? Like, is it really worth me, having a good go at bodybuilding at this stage? And based on my physique being natural up to that point, I was natural up until a month before that trip. I'd started my cycle like a month before. So the test of bed kicked in at that point. And they said, yeah, if this is what you got to naturally, and this is how fast you grow and you respond, and your blood work is great, then yeah, 100% you could, have a good crack at it. And did one training session with him, and he was like, okay, well, you can train. And then we started working together, and that just sort of turned into a really good relationship, a good mentorship. He taught me everything, and that really gave me the confidence to then level up my own coaching business and taking on more advanced sort of clientele and doing more blood work consultations and just deep diving more into that advanced world of bodybuilding as far as from a coaching point of view, which all carries over into the normal lifestyle coaching because it just makes the lifestyle coaching even more effective because you just know how to attack that stuff from many different angles. Because it all goes together. It's not one rule for enhanced and one rule for natties. It's most of the time the same things apply. Yeah, apart from that, he's just just don't look as good like James down here. But just a little bit skinny, and very funny mustaches and stuff like that. But it's all right. I don't judge.
Lucky there's no footage, so I cannot confirm or deny if I have a mustache right now.
Hey, there will be footage. This one looks
it's horrendous. It's friggin' Super Mario down here.
Fuck man, now I'm gonna shave it tomorrow because of you.
I'm kidding. I'm just busting your balls. I'll keep busting your balls until you sign up and get rid of that natty status.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
You'll be waiting.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Keep poking you. We'll keep poking you until it happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's kind of how it all went. And then a few years goes by, and now I'm 3 weeks away from hopefully attaining my pro card. Which wasn't initially the plan. Actually, I'd met Calum. Me and you were both in Dubai. Went to the team pro coach, and No Switch Fitness and J3 University seminar over there. Amazing experience, great guys. That was really good, actually, just from a confirmation point of view. A lot of that stuff we probably already learned or we've done the course and stuff before, but to ask a lot of questions, get some one-on-one time with those guys, and just get confirmation that what we're doing is the right way of doing things was just I was just like, okay, I'm good. I know what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? When you hear that, you hear the same answers you would give from like the top level guys in the industry.
Yeah,
like, I feel a bit more confident.
For me, it was like the conviction they had with winning and what they were doing as well was really like cool. But the biggest thing I took away from being there was not so much the reassurance of my practices, because not to say I was confident in what I was doing, but like what I took away more was being in the room with those guys, not necessarily those three, but just everyone there. It was like, yeah, this is where I want to be. Like, this is, do you know what I mean by that? Like,
these
are the people I want to be around. Yeah.
There were some very, very good people, good attitudes, kind of people that you want to be around to be good at this and be successful. There were no big egos there, no assholes.
Yeah, exactly cool. Right. Yeah, no, I thought that was great. Yeah, because everyone there was lovely. The people from fucking everywhere, Singapore, Dubai, England, Europe, like
it was half cool the UK crew over there.
Yeah, I know. Most of the UK.
So who are you then? Like, who are you? And I'm like, I started bodybuilding after I left the UK. I don't know anyone in the UK. So I follow a few of you online, but I don't know anyone. Like, yeah, we've never even seen you before. Who the hell are you?
Yeah, who's this big monster in the room that we've never met?
Yeah, they were like, who's coaching this guy?
Yeah. They literally said that. Everyone was like, who's coaching him? And it's like, no one. And it's sort of just like licking their lips.
Apparently Calum went,
yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah. I was going to ask about the starting bodybuilding late, but that's cool. You go, James.
I was just going to ask, with your show in 3 weeks' time, is it straight into it? If you win that, you get your pro card, or is it a qualifier first?
No, it's pro card.
Oh, really?
It's 2 days, two days, 2 shows. So the day before is the regional, and the day after is the pro qualifier.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, okay, I thought so.
I don't want to ask.
Because the NPC changed the rules again, because I did the same regional show here last August, and I won that one. And I thought, well, if I win that one, that gives me 12 months. So then you qualified for 12 months to do a pro qualifier. But then the NPC changed the rules that it has to be in the same year. It's not 12 months, it's within the same year. So as soon as 2023 rolled in, that was
gone. Yeah.
That was gone then. So then I'm like, oh, now you have to do a regional again. You have to sign up for your NPC registration again.
Fuck.
You just have to start from scratch, which is no big deal. It's all right, because it just gives us one more day just to fine tune that peak, right?
Yeah.
And especially when working with a new coach, working with Calum, that just gives him one extra day just to,
tweak
fine tune, which goes a long way.
Yeah, I was going to say as well. I know you get.
I've done that before as well. I've done back-to-back shows before in China, and I always look better on the second day.
Yeah.
So hopefully that goes well.
No, that's good. With that, what would be your? I'm probably jumping the gun a little bit here, but say you do win your pro card, what would be your plan after that? Are you going to take X amount of time off? Are you going to go straight into a pro show?
The original plan for this show was just get lean, get as close to stage lean as possible, and then rebound into a big growth phase.
Okay.
Put on a whole bunch of mass where it's needed, and then compete for the pro card at the end of the year or early next year. That was the original plan. But as we get closer to the show, we're kind of looking at each other going, hey, we might be in for a good shot at the actual card here, but things are starting to look really good.
Yeah.
So, the goal, that obviously that would be an amazing bonus. But the big takeaway for me is just look the best I've looked produce the best look, get lean enough to have a really good start to a really good growth season.
Yeah.
That's the main takeaway from this. If I get the pro card, great, happy days, because then that growth season will just get extended until I'm ready to do a pro debut.
Yeah.
Yeah, which however long that might take, probably I might just take a whole year off at that stage.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to go
ginormous.
about it. It's funny when you go with a lot of the guys that just win their pro cards. It's like, man, you get on stage. It's like you go from amateur to pro, and like the fucking jump is like from here to here.
Yeah,
especially if you want to be competitive. Like,
yeah, I don't intend on like if the first time I get on a pro stage, I want people to go, "Hey, he held his own." You know, at least he held his own in like a top 5 or something.
Yeah,
I have no intentions of getting on a pro stage just for the sake of doing
last. Yeah,
fuck that. Excuse my French. Can I swear on this? I'm not sure.
Yeah, as much as you want. I can't help it.
Yeah, you're Aussies. You should swear more than me.
Oh, it's bad. It's bad. Yeah,
I try to.
You got to hear my check-ins. Yeah,
but that was the original plan, though, was to get lean. We were just going to diet. So after Dubai, we said, look, I need to diet. I just reached 280 pounds in my previous off season. Got a little bit fluffy. Got sick when I was traveling. So it's and I just gained some unwanted fluff.
How tall are you?
I was like, huh?
How tall are you?
5'11" and a smidge. 5'11" and a half.
He doesn't lie.
6 foot when I'm on growth hormone, when my feet are all swollen.
Swollen.
But yeah, so it was the plan was basically just diet off season, compete at the end of the year when I'm actually bigger, win a pro card, and then straight away go into a pro debut because I would have already accumulated that mass.
Yeah.
And I said to him, well, how long are we going to diet for? Like 6 to 8 weeks probably. And I was like, well, in 9 weeks there's a show. Should we just do a prep? And take it fairly easily on the anabolic loads and the stuff like that, so we can bounce back out of this healthy into a really good growth season without having to take a break to clean up. Because blood work was perfect.
I can't wait to see you cave and put IFBB Pro Aaron Burke in your bio on Instagram.
Yeah. Right, man.
Aaron Burke _ IFBB Pro. With
capitals, and then under that overall winner and all of that.
Overall champ.
Overall champ.
Put a sword in there. With the obviously it's a 9-week prep. I don't want you to share too much because you don't want to disclose methodologies. But
that's fine. I actually spoke to Calum. I said, is there anything you don't want me to say? And he said, say what you want. So I can talk about it milligram for milligram if you want. Let's do that because most guys don't want to talk about that. 9 weeks out, you're entering a prep. I know Cal's big on speed preps because I know people who have been coached by them. I was coached by Pro Coach. He can't do it, but he doesn't like to do it.
Yeah.
Like us all, right? We can all do it. I can do it. But I'd always try and get someone to do a good 16, 20 weeks if I get
20 weeks is what I would always do.
I think.
I've got a guy now, like my other guy in Oz, Chris.
He looks great. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna put him for a 25-weeker.
Yeah.
I said, you'll grow for the first 10 weeks. You'll keep growing. You'll just recomp and look like a beast. So by the time halfway through prep comes around, you're not going to have barely done anything. We're not going to have pushed anything too aggressive. You're going to just be in a really good position before we actually do have to start digging deep. And it's just going to be way easier in general, and he's just going to look better and fresher. But it's going to be a good 25-weeker, but it will pay off big time.
Yeah, because I'll probably link up with Chris when I go up to Sydney.
He's a good kid.
Yeah, because we'll speak in privately as well. But the prep. So run us through what the sort of protocol is now, how it started, whatever you want to disclose, up to you.
Yeah, so basically, what I was doing at the time when I was traveling through Dubai and stuff like that, I was just running my regular sort of like cruise dose of around 350 megs of test at the time.
Yeah,
got back and then added back my Mastron, put that back in there. I put that in at 500. Because I was a little fluffy, got some blood work done. Estradiol needed to come down a little bit, but everything else was fine. Everything else was bang on. So then we discussed the diet and the situation and what we're going to do, and we decided to do the prep. And the prep just basically started off as, okay, well, let's just increase our anabolic load just to a little bit where you would be at like sort of, first quarter, end of first quarter, maybe second quarter of an off-season sort of cycle dosages. 500 test. And what was that? 500 test and 750 Mastron is like my base. So just get everything nailed and I can move everything else outside of that and just
Mhm.
keep that very stable without having to increase it. Whatever I do outside of that works
Mhm.
really, really well. I don't need
Yeah.
to manipulate that main anabolic load at all,
Mhm.
really, to get solid results. So that has remained the same up until right now. That's exactly
Mhm.
the same dose
Mhm.
all the way through.
Yeah, so 500, 750, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a really good sweet spot for me where I feel really good. Everything
Mhm.
works, knob works, you
Mhm.
know, and it's going well. And then sort of so obviously 9 weeks in, so a few weeks into that. So first of all was just diet manipulations, right? Take away a
Mhm.
little bit of food, add the cardio in.
Mhm.
Straight away, you know, weight started to come off, but it
Mhm.
was the first couple of weeks I was like, oh, I'm feeling this already. And I think it
Mhm.
kind of just took a little while for my body to go through those little
Mhm.
metabolic adaptations and just get used to the fact that, oh, we're in prep. Okay. This, and then,
Mhm.
you know, things kind of settle. And I
Mhm.
settled into that, and that was going really well. And then we add in, at that point, a little bit of clenbuterol.
Mhm.
Start that off minimal dosages at 40 micrograms, and that slowly titrates up from 40, 60 up to 80 over
Mhm.
the time until like now.
Mhm.
So that's over the
Mhm.
course of, say, 5 or 6 weeks.
Mhm.
Um, and then how many weeks out? About 6 weeks out, the thyroid went in.
Mhm.
12.5 megs of T3
Mhm.
twice a day, meal one and meal three. 100 micrograms of T4, which I have all year round anyway. That's
Mhm.
always in.
Yeah.
I had about 4 weeks of growth hormone, like good pharma grade growth hormone,
Mhm.
left in a pen here. So I
Mhm.
was using that at 4 IUs a day.
Mhm.
2 IUs pre-fasted cardio and 2 IUs pre-bed. That
Mhm.
ran out a couple of weeks ago. So
Mhm.
instead of getting more, I just said, why don't we just drop the growth hormone a little bit
Mhm.
earlier than we usually would?
Mhm.
So that's fine. No issues there at all. A couple of weeks doesn't really make a difference. It would usually come out a couple of weeks early anyway, right? Um, and it's been pretty much that. At 5 weeks out, 6 weeks out, the trend went in 50
Mhm.
milligrams per week, total per
Mhm.
week
Yeah.
for a couple of weeks, titrate that up to 100.
Mhm.
And next week, it's Sunday today, right? Yeah. So next week,
Mhm.
I will elevate that to 150.
Mhm.
And that, my friend, is it.
No orals.
Oh, I will put some in, yeah. So we'll
Yeah.
put in the Winstrol will go in at 30 milligrams. Like
Mhm.
up until now, I mean, that's been it up until now.
Yeah. Cool. Got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
Mhm.
we've got that last few weeks to dig. Yeah, 30
Mhm.
megs of Winstrol will go in. Um, no Anavar. I was using Anavar for a week, but the
Mhm.
Anavar here got priced up a lot. It's the
Yeah.
Bonivar Anavar, so the real stuff.
Mhm. Yeah.
And the amount that I was at 30 megs a day,
Mhm.
I was just
Yeah.
like, you know what? I don't think my training output I feel so good right now. My training is so
Mhm.
good. I don't feel
Don't
like I
need
need
it.
anything to
Yeah.
You
maintain
know, yeah.
I don't need anything else for muscle retention for training
Yeah.
output
Mhm.
at this point. So I said, do you know what? I just think at this point, Anavar is just not necessary. And I think from Cal's point of view, he's probably just wary because my weight is coming off so fast. Like we're
Mhm.
Yeah.
dropping a few kilograms a week, some
Mhm.
weeks, like it's flying off. And I think he's really worried that all of a sudden that fatigue is just going to hit me like a
Mhm.
brick wall.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's where the communication comes in, right? We're always
Mhm.
talking. I'm like, don't worry, I feel fine. I feel amazing. If I get any
Mhm.
inclination that I feel like I might, you know, that fatigue is going to hit, I'll let
Mhm.
you know. But I'll tell you right now, based on what I've done in the past for preps,
Mhm.
this is plenty for me to be able to maintain really
Mhm.
good training output, feel good,
Mhm.
and there's still enough food in there.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't really need a great deal. The Winstrol will go in. Now I'm actually lean enough that Winstrol will actually make a difference. A lot of
Mhm.
people will think you put Winstrol in, and then all of a sudden it's going to burn all this fat, and it's going to make your skin really thin.
Mhm.
It will
Mhm.
do that, but you've got to be lean first. You've got to be in
Yeah.
single
Yeah.
digits first. If you're not in
Yeah.
single digits, it's not really gonna work.
I don't think it's
You
worth
might get the performance
it's
output from it. You might feel
Mhm.
like a bit more of a beast in the gym, but then the flip side of that is your joints, right?
Mhm.
So I think the last few weeks when you are actually like getting close, when you're single digits body fat, that's where I like to implement it, and I think it really shines.
Mhm.
Um, and that's it. That's it. I will most likely maybe use a little bit of Superdrol in the last
Mhm.
week or two if training
Mhm.
takes a little bit of a dip. But right
Yeah.
now, I don't think I need to do anything more because
Well, you've got trend to push the performance as well. I don't really like to be fair with Anavar, just on that as well. I've noticed the worst labs I've seen are people who use Anavar. And the weirdest part about that is Anavar's touted as like this safe drug on like your bro forums. Have you seen worse labs? Have you seen worse labs than in people who have smashed Anavar?
It's always the case of people who have smashed Anavar for way too long.
Yeah.
This is guy, I've been running Anavar for 6 months to a year. You know, at like 50 megs. And I'm just like, yeah, well, no shit, your liver enzymes are going to be all over the place. Like, it doesn't matter if it's touted a safe drug. It's still an oral. You know? It's gonna something out for alkaline fucking oral, and it's still gonna take its toll on your liver over time. So you know, these things are training aids, right? Like same as Trembolone. It's a training aid. You're supposed to use it to maintain for muscle retention purposes, training purposes when you need it. If you don't need it, don't take it.
If
you
it's
know, people take an Anavar like it's this great add-on to grow muscle. Maybe I might potentially use it as like a bit of a kickstarter, a front loader to a cycle in that first 3 or 4 weeks where someone's waiting for the test to kick in. That could potentially be in place if they've done that before, or we know that's going to be fine. A lower dose where it's not going to have too much of an impact on blood work, that it slows down the rest of that growth phase. But as far as keeping that in as like a long-term supplement, I don't see any place for it whatsoever.
I personally, and the thing is, the guys,
I'm talking males, though. In females, males, that might be a little bit different.
Yeah, I have guys who want to bring in Anavar, and then they're not potentially, for example, they're not logging their workouts. So I have no idea what their strength is doing regardless. If your strength's not tapering, in my view, you don't need Anavar. It's a performance aid, like you said. And then if I don't have those numbers, like,
because their bros have said it's awesome.
Yeah, it's like, it's going to fill me up and make me look huge. I've seen guys, like, for example, if guys sharing what you're running right now, they're going to listen to this and think bullshit. Like, he's huge. He's 110 kilos, massive.
People have been saying I've been talking bullshit since I was a natty, all the way through my rugby life. They're like, what are you taking? I couldn't even spell testosterone back then. But I got up to like 250 pounds naturally at one point, like fluffy. Didn't look good, but I was big and strong. And in the off season in the rugby,
I'm not far off,
yeah, catch up, mate. A few more.
I got about 45 pounds to go.
You need to do the Dave Palumbo McDonald's diet.
It's not a bad idea. I'm thinking of jumping on an Anavar only cycle. I don't know what you're talking about.
Might as well throw some Debo in there as well, mate. Go for it. But it's one of them. Like, there's a time and a place for everything, right? But you need to be able to justify the use. That's the way I see it. If you can't justify it, don't do it.
But like Michael said, it's a logbook.
Proof is in the pudding, and it doesn't make up for it either. So I'll tell you a little story. The last prep I did, that August one, I kind of run a bit of a personal experiment with that, where I was going to go a little bit flexible. Basically, I said, this diet, I'm going to eat completely intuitively. I'm not going to measure anything. I'm just going to eat intuitively and see if I can get close to stage lean by not being super hard on the diet, but increasing my drug load and see if that makes up for poor dieting. And it wasn't poor dieting, it was still clean dieting, but it wasn't structured and measured. You know, I was controlling and measuring my deficit like I am now, which is working a treat. And I just, when I felt like it, I would increase my dosages, right? I would increase whatever it was, whether it be the test, the mass, or the Trembolone. I'd take things in and out and see if I can make up for the flexible diet in a prep and still look good. Now, I won the show, but 4 guys showed up. It doesn't count as a win. And I looked like a bag of shit, like probably 70% condition. Like, it did not look good. I was full as a house, bubbly, but I would have got smoked at 99% of shows. Just luckily, no one showed up to the show. And then the guy who was conditioned in the show was like 30 pounds, 40 pounds smaller. So just by default and overall structure and size, they were like, well, he's the most bodybuilding guy up there, so he's the winner, right? So that it was, and so that I've done it. I've been there, done it, got the t-shirt. Drugs will never, ever make up for well-structured dieting, the whole package, basically. The whole package has got to be synergistic and work together. But you cannot out-drug a bad diet.
Yeah.
And I just had to do that for myself because it was only a short 6-week prep as well, by the way. It was very short term. So I was able to push things a little bit more without having too prolonged time period of, toxic compounds. So I was able to mitigate a lot of health issues there and push the boundaries a little bit in a controlled manner. Like I did this in a controlled, safe way. But yeah, and it didn't work. So just, it was just a little personal experiment. And less is more. You keep hearing it, right? People say less is more. It's the truth. It really is. People are doing way more than they need to, way more, because they won't give just the right dose of whatever it might be. They won't even give it a chance because they're scared they're missing out. So by default, they're doing way higher dosages just to be sure, just in case, which is what I really like about working with Calum, because it's the opposite of that. It is literally like, let's use what we know is like the bare minimum that we need, and only increase anything or decrease anything as and when we really need to. And for weeks and weeks now, it's been a weight trend has just been perfect, and I'm looking better and better and feeling. The deeper I get into this prep, the better I feel. And so there's no reason to increase anything. There's no reason to up anything more in there. It's just if it trust the process, if it's working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've had a lot. Go.
No, I was going to say, and like Michael was saying before about like Anavar and training, and it's like people aren't even logging in their work in their logbook for training. Like I feel like, and a lot of these people that do want to start cycles and do whatever, it's like, man, you're not nailing your training. You're not even nailing your diet. Like what makes you think you can nail like any anabolic that you're going to put into yourself? Like,
I think it's going to be the
you don't want to measure,
right?
you don't want to weigh your food, but you can be bothered sitting there fucking drawing out your needle and measuring that. Like, give me a fucking break.
Paying for a Bitcoin, waiting for it to come to your door, fucking
it's just a totally backwards way of thinking. But these people never go on to build good physiques.
They just want to be big.
Find me anyone who's had that kind of experience when they were like, any good quality bodybuilder that hasn't got their diet and their training completely dialed in and locked in. They don't exist.
Yeah.
They don't exist, and there's a reason for that. These things are just as important. They all work synergistically together. So in 2023, the idea that you can just take drugs and all of a sudden you're going to transform into this freak without actually having to train, without knowing how to train or knowing how to eat, that's just dumb people stuff. Like that is such like they couldn't spell the compounds. They haven't done any homework, and it's just unfortunately there's not much you can do about that. There really isn't, because they're going to do it no matter what. They've already tricked themselves. They've already talked themselves into it. They've already spoken to enough of their bros in the gym that are just like, oh yeah, just pop a couple of these a week and do some tren, bro, and you'll be influenced before you know it. And they think that by doing the drugs, that's going to be the catalyst that's going to make them all of a sudden start training really well and eating really well. Like that's going to be the thing to kickstart it, and it never is. And they run into health issues, and then they're on the phone to you a few months later saying, "I cocked up. I need proper guidance."
And then you got to fix it, and it makes it worse.
And the ones that kill me the most are the ones abusing tren, and they're like, "I feel sick," and it's like, you have to be a psychopath to feel good on tren. Like,
I feel great.
50 megs.
You're on 150. I was going to say you're on fucking 100 megs right now, aren't you? You're not on fucking 5. You're not on 500.
Dude, some of these guys, I don't see any reason to go more than 200 megs, and that would be for big guys.
Yeah,
right? And I know people do more than that, and they swear by it. And they run it all year round, but I'm like, trust me, if you just
want to kill someone,
just try. Just get everything else in place. Get your diet in place. Get your training. Get everything in place. Where when you do add something in, it's going to have so much of a better effect because you're putting it on top of solid foundations. And that's when you can get away with using a lot less and getting way better results.
Yeah. My opinion. Yeah, but those foundations are never nailed as well.
I mean, like Samson, right? You hear about Samson recently. He's only just started doing tren for the first time.
Oh, no shit, really?
He's terrified of the stuff.
Where do you say that?
It was on one of the podcasts with Milos recently, and because he's all of a sudden, right, over the last few weeks, like looking like, oh my God.
Yeah, incredible. Wicked. Yeah.
Because he's got such good foundations. His training, his eating, he's already massive and lean. He's got so much muscle, and he's got the basics right. So when he do add in, I don't know how much they added in. I imagine for someone at his side, probably a couple of 100 megs.
100, yeah.
but he was
Yeah, a
terrified
couple
of it.
hundred for
So
sure.
maybe they started him off at like 100
Yeah.
Mhm.
See how he responded.
because he was really worried about how it would make him feel.
I didn't know that. So he hasn't run trend his
Yeah.
whole career, and he looks like that.
Just
Still
like-
looks that wicked.
Exactly, right?
A
So,
lot
but
of-
then now he's got all his ducks in a row, and they add in just a little bit just to test the
And
waters,
it's
and
just-
his body
Look at
responds in
that.
kind.
Yeah.
Now look at it, right? And I bet your ass they didn't throw him straight on some crazy dose of Trent. I bet you
Nah, no way.
Milos probably started him off at like 100 megs just to ease him into it, so he knows, okay, I feel good on this. My look is improving, my training's still, and whatever it is.
A lot of it comes down to, in regards to condition. You can throw whatever you want at it. If the tissue is not there, they're not going to look like they're in condition. You can throw
100%.
everything under the sun at a person. Like I said this in another podcast. I think it was a podcast or a post the other day. A lot of guys sort of jump on like their first cycle, or the only time they do blast is when they're cutting, and they're always disappointed because no matter whether
Your
you're
body's
running
not in a
or
position
not,
to be growing.
you don't build
at that point.
you don't build muscle in a deficit. It doesn't matter what
Yeah.
you've got in. So if you have substantial amounts of tissue, you can literally run the bare minimum and look great. And I'd say that would have been that kind of situation.
Just
Then you add the
maintaining
trend and it's
muscle.
just that pop. It's like that fucking cream on the top.
You just need to be able to keep it.
I've seen a lot of not shit looking, but I've seen some lackluster physiques on blasting trend. And
Majority, mate. It's the vast majority of people on steroids look like shit.
Man, I've had people when I was doing
because
the
they don't have the physiques, they don't have the muscle to actually warrant the use.
Well, when I was doing face to face, people would come in and like it was more just for consults. So they'd come in and be like, "Yeah, I'm running trend," and I'd look at them and I'd think,
"Are you?
Yeah, are you sure? Like,
you sure it's trend, man?
Is it fake?" And then I'd be like, "What brand are you using?" And then they'd tell me the brand. I'd be like, "Oh, I've heard that before." All right, I don't know. It's like I don't know. Like I think to myself, something's going wrong here. Half the time I think, it has to be fake. It has to be fake. But like, it's not. None
most
of
the time it's training, mate. Most of the time, I get people like that all the time. I say, "Send me some training videos," and you're like,
"You're not doing it."
Yeah. We also went over with Luke, like the main driver behind everything that we do, natural or enhanced, is training. But somehow training gets the least attention out of everything. Like this day and age, when I get new clients, typically like a new enhanced client, let's say specifically, because usually the nutties that are pretty into it understand it. You get a new enhanced clients, the lowest, like the last thing they talk about is the training.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's almost like, all right, gear, food, supplements, and then training's at the bottom. But we need to remember, like without training, none of this matters. Do you know what I mean? So why would you not do what we can to get that right?
I've been training for 10 years. My training's good, bro. My training's good.
Man, I've got guys.
Be open-minded.
Yeah.
There's always places to learn. Send me a video, and I'll be like, "We got a lot of work to do." And they're like, "Oh, what really?" And I'm like, "I ain't gonna sugar it. There's work to do."
Honestly, like I've probably made the most progression in my whole of lifting in the last 2 years, purely because I sent one training clip to AJ when I started with him, and he said pretty much, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah,
and
I was Aaron in Dubai.
Proper honesty. If your coaches aren't honest and you're not getting honest feedback, they don't give a shit.
Yeah, and ever since then, it's just like my training is ridiculous. Like,
you need that. Like I do it with everyone, all of my clients. I'm a bit of a drill sergeant with it, but it's for your benefit. Yeah, because you will reap the rewards. Sorry, Mike, I cut you off a second ago. What were you saying?
Oh no, I was going to say, no, it's all right. I literally have had clients come in and they say, "Nah, mate, I don't need you to do my training. I'm good with that." And it's like, well, you're paying me top dollar, like it's included. I'm like, give me a crack. And then like, no, trust me, mate. And then I'm like, all right, what have you got? And it's like, show me a training program. It's like, oh no, just up here. And it's like fuck.
There's like six pressing movements in the chest session.
Yeah, it's like, and then it's like, I'll see him in the gym one night, like 2 weeks after they're starting, they're like pumping out some curls or like doing a mega drop set, and I'm just like, and then the next check-in, I'm like, that wasn't part of your program, mate. Like, what the fuck was that? It's like, oh, I just need more volume. The thing that kills me the most, actually, I write up this killer program. So I'll have a program with 8 exercises. Yeah, let's say 8 exercises, hypothetical, and I'll have. Let's say I get one guy. Let's say I get a guy named Ben. I get a guy named Jack. Okay, I'll give Ben and Jack not the same program, but like 6, 7 to 8 exercises, same working sets, same sort of structure. Ben messaging me or checking in, yeah, fucking killer, I'm fucked at the end. I can't even make it through. It's taking me an hour and a half. Jack, hey, I need more exercise. It's done in 30 minutes. What's the problem here?
Videos.
Yeah. They just
They're like
like
7
there's
reps
just
away from
there's
failure.
no intensity there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you
Like
don't get off, if you don't
stopped halfway
Yeah.
through the set.
if
Yeah.
you don't get onto a top set and feel like you're going to die after your top set, there's something wrong.
Oh, it's like, oh man, I used to do 4 working sets an exercise. Why is there only 2? And it's like if you can back up the first set, like it's not failure. And then again, I just say send me a video. Send me a video.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4 sets an exercise. Like I have guys that have been doing like 40 sets a workout. And then you get like
guys to be open-minded and just trust the process and try it. Then they switch their minds very, very quickly. When you understand the benefits of that intensity and you feel it for the first time, then they go, "Oh shit, I'll be fucking wasting a lot of time here."
It's very hard to teach intensity though.
It's super hard, and it does take time. You can't expect people to get there straight away. Like
I still don't think I've learned it.
Yeah,
it's brick by brick. It's brick by brick. It really. We're all learning. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
Everyone should always be upgrading your training in one way or another. Anyone who says, "Oh no, my training is good. I know it all. I'm good," like red flag. This game is evolving so much all the time. There's always something. There's always an opportunity to level up your training, even if it's just like a good example recently is I binned off my hack squats and I did a different leg press variation. And where I usually always take my leg presses for a full range of motion, I usually like ass to grass on most squat movements. What I decided to do is just try just past 90 and just working in this sort of mid-range, like not fully long, not fully short, just in that mid-range. And I did a little something different with my hips where I bury my hips real back into a leg press and just tried a few different foot positions. It was just one of them. I was like, I'm going to try a few different things here than I usually do and see if I can just find a feel that feels really good. And I just found this little sweet spot in the little Cybex leg press, little 45-degree leg press. And I found this sweet spot, which hit a part of my quad that I have never had flare up like that before, ever. And I was like, holy shit. And doing this for years, years. But you've always got to be on the search to improve your game. And I'm going to keep doing that now. You know, I'm going to incorporate that same foot position and what I did with my hips and that range of motion. I'm going to do exactly the same thing on that leg press. And then I'll probably switch out my other squat pattern movement. It's like a pendulum squat or something like that.
Yeah.
Just rotate those exercises and just get good at different exercises, play with different positions, because there's so much. I feel like so many people are leaving games on the table because they're so set in their ways. And and it's one of them. But you're right, though, teaching intensity and trying to get people to be open-minded about trying new training techniques and different methods is difficult. But the ones that stick it out and trust the process, they're the ones that really benefit.
We went over the other day how it's hardest to teach like the older guys to sort of adopt new processes. And as well, like even Kuba put up a video yesterday, which sort of got straight to the point with it. Like we have so many machines available now, and these older guys are still preaching like barbell are the best.
Yeah.
And the reality is you cannot, in my view, I don't know, we'll get your opinion on this. You cannot get the proximity to failure on a barbell that you can on a fixed machine.
Can't remember the last time I touched a barbell.
Yeah,
the machines are so good.
Yeah, there is no point.
I got these converging chest presses, which just wrap my entire all the way through to
here. Yeah, you're right.
Perfect ranges. Like,
and this is meant to be better.
Feels so good. What is this?
Yeah.
You know, and it just doesn't make sense to me. Like if it feels better.
I think the last time I bench pressed, I did
just
like
stubbornness. People trying to just
100 for like 8.
I bench pressed.
I could do about 140 now.
I bench pressed in lockdown. That's it.
Yeah.
I used to be able to bench press a lot of weight, and it used to be fun. I did a little bit of powerlifting for a while, just learning about powerlifting programming, just out of interest. Went through a few powerlifting processes there. It was good, got strong, lifted a bunch of weight. But for me personally, the risk and reward there is just not there. It's not there.
No way.
I see.
I don't get the same out of it. I understand it, and I understand why people love it. But for me personally, I just prefer building muscle and getting massive rather than being really strong for one rep.
Well, no one gives a shit what you can lift, really.
unless
the
you're
end
a
of the day.
powerlifter.
Yeah, unless you're a powerlifter, yeah, that's
But
a
for
whole
me, I
different
just
ballgame.
prefer, you know, it's like each to their own, right? Some people like rugby, some people like football, whatever, you know. But yeah, you got to do what's best for your sport. And if
I
you're
can't remember.
then there's better options these days than freaking barbells. That's for sure.
Of
I can't
course.
remember where I was listening to it the other day, but they were talking about how a lot of people get new people into the gym, like newbies to train, and they're like, "Yep, I want to squat, bench, and deadlift." And it's like, what the fuck do you mean you want to squat, bench, and deadlift? And it's like, I've been training for years, and it's like I still feel like my squat, bench, and deadlift isn't perfect. And it's like you've never stepped foot in the gym, and you want to squat, bench, and deadlift. Like, you know what I mean? And
But
I feel like
it's
it's
such
a
a
technique
You
that
can't
needs to
build a
be
good
learned.
physique without the big three, right?
Yeah, but it's not even that. It's like it's one of those
that
things
makes
where
me
it's like
sick.
you don't know how to use your. It's like you don't know how to contract your chest, but you think by doing a bench press you're gonna grow a bigger chest. It's like I can guarantee
Because
you.
Arnold
I reckon
did
if
it,
I
and
lined
he's got a
10 people up, but not even that. I reckon you line 10 people up. I reckon 1 out of the 10, if you're lucky, says they feel a bench press in their chest.
I would
If
just
you're
say,
lucky.
I would just get 5 people on a converging machine press and 5 people on a chest press, get them all to do 1 set each, and then swap them, put a lie detector on them, and say which one felt better. I bet
Yeah.
100% of them say the converging press feels better.
Yeah.
Because I was
It's just
doing
that. It's as simple as that. If you'd like to do something, do it.
It's
You know,
different, yeah. If you
love
enjoy it,
squatting,
you enjoy it.
If you love squatting, and you've got massive legs, crack on, mate.
Yeah.
If you love bench pressing and you've got a massive chest, crack on. If you love deadlifting and you've got a massive back, crack on. Whatever. You do what you like to do. You have to enjoy your training. I get it.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to really develop those muscle groups and what you're doing
and
is
optimize
working, you have to
training.
be open. Yeah, if you're really looking to optimize things and get the absolute most out of it, then you have to understand that there are better options.
Yeah.
But again, if you like to do it, then do it.
Yeah.
Either way, no, because I can still program it in. There's better things, sure, but if you want me to program it in, I'll program it in. It work.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you do want people to be happy and enjoying their training.
Yeah, and you don't want to go to the gym and not want to be there.
You're not gonna.
I
You're not
don't
gonna
understand the mentality of like, I love bench pressing. Like, I need to have bench pressing in my program. I love it. I don't understand that mentality because what's the difference of that in a machine? Or,
because you can load it and you look.
Yeah, I think it's
but
more
if
of a like
if you're hitting failure on a bench press as well, the risk for injury is huge.
massive. Yeah.
Adult injury.
And so I don't really understand the mindset behind it, but at the same time, you know, initially I will try and make things as comfortable and as fun as possible for clients. And then what I'll do is maybe just, you know, over a phone call, just educate them on that.
And say why it's,
Like, look, just trust me, switch it out for this for 6 weeks, and then we'll talk again.
Yeah.
If you hate it and you want to go back to bench pressing, fine. But that never happens, does it?
Yeah.
They always go, oh, yeah.
Yeah, that is better. What do you like better, Pattaya or Bangkok? Gym.
It's hit and miss. Like, love Bangkok, hate the traffic. Love Pattaya, hate the tourism side of it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because I've never been to Pattaya, but or Pattaya, however you say it.
I go there for 2 or 3 days at a time when I need to do like business paperwork or visa stuff, and then I come straight back. After a few days, I'm like, okay, I've had enough. But at the same time, there are times I go there and I'm like, yeah, I could live here for a good few months and just live by the beach and the gym and just do that. And loads of people do, and it's great. It is. It's just each to their own, right? But for me, I just kind of go back and forth. Whenever I feel like I need a few days by the beach and training down there, I'll just go there for a few days. It's like an hour and a half in a cab.
Yeah, because one of the things I had written down here, going way off topic now, is one of the things we kind of agree on is like, you said it the other day as well, you put on your story, it's like people are like, this is my home, this is my home, this is where I live, this is where I belong. And it's like, you've never lived anywhere else. Like, how the fuck do you know if it was your home? And like, you obviously moved from England. Yeah.
Like, the way you were born is just completely pot luck. You didn't choose it.
It kills me.
Country didn't choose you, and you didn't choose your country. Country does not give a crap about you. So the idea of patriotism to me is that I don't get it. I just don't understand. And the idea of being like this so like loyal to your place of birth when there's a whole big wide world out there to explore, where there might be somewhere that fits you. I just don't get it. I know some people will never leave the place they were born. They might go on a holiday once or twice a year, but they'll always go home.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just home is where the heart is. And for me, that could change every couple of years. Doesn't, you know, I just go with the flow. It's a big wide world. It's an amazing world. I intend to experience as much of it as possible. Like I'll do another year here and then I'll go off to Dubai and I'll go and try Dubai for a while. Maybe after that I'll do, I don't know, somewhere else, Singapore or Japan. I don't know. I'll just keep moving around. Places that I feel like I want to go and see. Somewhere Spanish speaking actually will be after Dubai. Well, maybe next. I'll be learning how to speak Spanish, so I feel like I want to go chill and live in Cuba for a few months. Just smoke some cigars on the beach.
All the tax havens. No, when we're in Bali, me and Izzy were there for like 8 weeks. It was amazing how quickly like it felt like home. Like I felt more at home there than I ever felt here, and I've lived here for 27 years. Within like fucking 4 weeks, it was like this is routine. This is home. Yeah, made friends.
The idea of a holiday, once you get that out of your head, and you understand that home is wherever I want it to be. And then there's just that initial case of adapting to a new environment, figuring out where things are. You don't have to speak the language in most of the world these days, if you're English speaking anyway. And then it's just a case you put a little bit of an effort in to try and figure out what stuff is and what things are slightly different. And that's it. And then you just enjoy a new environment. Love it.
Yeah. Bali was great. Like even like it's just amazing how quickly you sort of make friends and stuff too. And like at the end of the day, man, when you're in Western civilization, like fuck, I love my mates, yeah. But like how often do you see your friends in the Western culture? You know what I mean?
Always working, man.
Everyone's busy, everyone's working, everyone's this, everyone's that. And then people are like, I can't leave them. And it's like probably see them once a month.
Speak with your mates online 99% of the time.
Exactly right. That too. Yeah.
You don't have to stop doing that.
Exactly right.
But people grow up and they go about their lives. You know, it's just that's just life. Like, the idea of that die-hard loyalty where you have to be close to people, family and friends and stuff. Why?
Yep. Nope. I agree. I couldn't agree more. Because obviously we both quite like Dubai as well. Dubai's another planet. Yeah.
So it did feel like it's just a whole new world, like a new world. It was just this new place, this new vibrant place where it's just different than anywhere else I've ever been to. And I've been to a lot of places. And it's like, when you build a completely brand new city straight out of the sand, you know, and it's not tainted or influenced by hundreds of thousands of years of history.
Yeah.
It's a fresh start. So it feels like this amazing fresh start place. And everything's so good. They've not half-assed anything.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. I definitely want to go and live there for a little while. And the gyms are epic too, which helps.
Yeah, the bodybuilding culture there is huge.
Yeah,
it's
epically
ridiculous.
expensive.
Be hard to break into as a coach, but as a athlete, it's nuts. Because obviously a few of the boys that we met were living there as well.
Well, I'm hoping like if I get at some point some pro card status and a little bit of profile points, if you like, in the sport, that might open up a few doors over there.
Yeah, you got to add it to your bio. You got to add it to your bio for that.
Yeah,
I won't know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Do you know what I used to joke about?
Show him your Instagram.
Look at this guy. He turned pro. He turned pro 5 minutes ago, and he's already IFBB pro, whatever his name in his bio.
Mate, you're going to do it straight away.
That'd be calling my name out. That'd be calling my name out. I'd do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. Like, will I do that? And I had a good think about it. Like, I should just stay the same. You know, be humble. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, fuck.
And then I thought about it, and I was like, hang on a minute. I have just sacrificed almost everything in my life for years and spent tens of thousands of dollars to get that status, and I'm not gonna fucking change it. Fucking right, I'm gonna change it. So I am gonna put in big capital letters IFBB Pro, and I'll be bloody proud of it as well. Because that's earned, and it will be.
I do the same thing.
Because when I turn pro, it's not going to be one of those cereal box pro cards that you see handed out these days to guys that, unfortunately, there's so many shows. It's kind of inevitable that sometimes people don't show up, and guys end up with pro cards when they don't really have anything to a pro physique.
How many pro cards are at your show that are they giving out?
8, one for each class.
Oh, so it is just one for each class. Okay.
I was looking at all the shows last night.
Place pro cards at this one.
Yeah, there's like 12 pro cards that are showing Malta in November.
Dude, I saw a show advertised in Italy last year with 45 pro cards.
Fuck me.
Yeah, but you know what? These people go and win them,
cards.
and they don't do anything with them anyway.
No, it's just they use it as a status, and
It
they can't because they're not even good enough to. They have to take 3 years off just to get anywhere close to being pro.
Yeah.
So I get it's a business thing. I get it's good for business and promotion in certain countries where they want to promote the sport a bit more. I'm assuming that's what it's for. Or maybe it's a bit of a money. I don't know. I really don't know the reason behind why they do that. But I just can't, I don't like the idea of winning a pro card for coming third in a class.
I know.
Not even a class win sometimes. They give away to the top 2 of every class. So you didn't even win your class, yet you turned pro. How does that make sense? In what way?
That's a big men's physique thing, I reckon.
That's all. They did it with most of the classes in some of these shows now. It's every class, top 2 of each class or something like that. It's just
it's just interesting as well because you see those blokes that go to the nationals in America and who's won them? Who won it last year? Carlos Thomas Jr. and when Justin Shire won it and all those guys.
Yeah, because and
it's that looks like they genuinely had to battle for it. But then you have these guys that go do some fucking little shitty show and it's here you go, mate. But it's a big deal that they've won it. But like you said, this guy comes second, third, and he's they're just yeah.
Well, the one good
nationals
thing
is different because the standard there is so high. So pretty much everyone there is pretty much pro.
But it's these people go on and beat IFBB pros to become IFBB pros. What are you doing a national show for? Just go do some shitty show, wipe the floor with them, get your card, go into your off season, mate. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm pretty sure with our shows here, they give out I don't know, you'd know better than I would. Yeah, one.
I think it's one.
And you got to think it's the entire country as well. And that's why, we've had this discussion already. It's Aussies just want to, there is no desire for any Aussie to go overseas and chase it. But you lose politics and you're done. You lose. Why would you not try to capitalize? And what I was going to say before, I'm pretty sure with the smaller, the countries like Italy, Malta, things like that, I'm pretty sure they would bump that up just so they get an influx of tourism as well.
Yeah, so people come.
Not tourism, bodybuilding tourism. Because they can make a name in those countries. That's great. Because when I saw there was a show in Malta, I'm like, fuck, I'll do that. That's great. You look at the lineup and I'm looking at it thinking, I thought I was a year off. But you look at these guys and you're like, fuck, I'd probably finish third here. For me to finish third, that's huge because, well, fuck, I've taken the piss for the last 12 months. You know what I mean?
Don't listen to him, Aaron. He still takes the piss, mate.
On and off, yeah.
I saw him chowing down on some food yesterday. If he hasn't told you about that yet.
No, I didn't tell him yet.
I'll see if it's in his check-in later.
Nah, it's not.
Now it has to be. Now it has to be.
Nah, my photos were yesterday though.
He's editing it. He's editing it on his phone as we speak.
I'm gonna have to crop this part of the podcast out, eh? I did that yesterday.
You know the score. You know what I'll say anyway.
Yeah, I know what you'll say. Yeah, but
he'll tell you you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, I had a fucking my weight sort of just held around the 93 this week. I was pretty taken back by that, to be honest. Yeah, because
we're getting a live check-in. We're getting
a live check-in. Yeah, I think I hit 92.3 one day, and then it just sort of just crept back up, and it's just literally.
With you, it's just a case of once you get locked into a really good, consistent routine, things happen, and they've happened pretty well, pretty fast, and your composition stays in a good spot. For you, it's the consistency issue, right, with business. So you just need to just get locked in. Once you're locked in, then things start moving, and then we can manipulate and make things move faster. But that foundation consistency has to be there.
What are you paying this guy for? I could have told you that for free.
It's the stuff that I'm not saying. Dick pills. How many dick pills to take?
Bit of a Cialis pump.
A Cialis pump.
Yeah. Now, when
Keep yourself out in the mirror.
Probably good to we can go from that into something that's actually planned. When I chose to go with Aaron, right, I had, for anyone listening, obviously I'm not talking directly to you guys, I've gone through, Aaron's my fourth coach. So basically when I chose to go with Aaron, I consulted with 4 or 5. So I remember I contacted you for a blood work analysis. Remember that? And he sort of looked at the bloods and he's like, what are you doing this for? Your bloods are perfect. And I'm like, oh man, I just wanted to see what you were like before I sort of decided to sign up with you or not. And the reason I picked Aaron was because, but the reason I picked you was because you gave a shit. Like we sat on the phone for like 2 hours, I think. Yeah,
I
the other
remember that,
guys,
actually.
the other guys, I was like, on and off the phone, and it was like, it wasn't even on off the phone. I remember at the end of the call, you literally sent me the names of other coaches. You were like, here are some other coaches, check them out, let me know what you think. Like they might be more suited to you.
And that's the main thing, right? That's why I'm quite picky. It's terrible for business, but I'm very picky with who I work with, because you've got to have a good coach-client relationship if you want this thing to have any longevity and if you really want it to work. And anyway, for me, it's personally for me, I think that's important. I don't want to work with people I don't like, or I don't feel like I to put effort into. If I don't feel like I want to put effort into you, like, I don't know, you can't like everyone, right? You can't click with everyone. And it's also a case of people that are able to take constructive criticism in the right way. Because, like I said, I don't sugarcoat anything. I'll give it to you straight because it's for your own benefit. And that's sometimes very difficult for guys that have trained for a long time, but people that are coaches and they're taking on a coach to be able to then take criticism on something that they actually do for a living. You know, have to be a very open-minded kind of person and understand the potential learning processes from that. And if you have that kind of mindset and you're not a dick, then we'll work together great. But I truly believe that there's got to be a really good natural level of communication, like a genuine level of communication where you can really have a conversation and talk to someone where it doesn't feel like you're on a time limit sales call. And
you just want to get off it.
You feel like you should feel like you're able to ask questions and not being told, hey, hold back on the questions, buddy, and not limited like that. And I think that's the whole coach-client relationship thing, and the time and effort you put into from both sides. The more effort you put into your clients, the more effort your clients will put in, and therefore you build this really synergistic thing, and then you learn more about each other, and that just formulates into a really good progressive environment. And that's I learned a lot of that from Steve. Steve was very much like that with me. We'd speak all the time. There was no limit to communication. We started a podcast together. We spoke just normal, just on the phone, just bro chat. I mean, we clicked and we turned into good mates very quickly. It was very clear that we had very compatible personalities. We were very similar. We looked quite similar as well. Most people thought we were brothers at first, but that was just I learned a lot from the way he dealt with people and how he cared and how he communicated, and I think that's super important.
Because he referred me to you, Steve.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of Steve.
There are a few people over to me, but even then, he knows who to refer to me and who not to. Because he knows, like, Aaron's not going to like this guy.
I've had clients get upset at me for like the brutality of my feedback before. Not brutality, but like sometimes, I'll say brutality, but like when I say brutality, it's not brutal. And I say to them, if you heard what Aaron said to me, you would never talk to me again. Like you would block me, cancel your payment with your bank, and fuck off.
These days, people are snowflakes, right? You know, everyone's so bloody sensitive, and it's like, hang on a minute, understand what the information you're getting.
Understand what you're paying for.
Yeah, exactly. Ask yourself, why am I being so serious with you? Why am I being a hard ass with you? It's because I want you to be healthy and look good and achieve your goals. I'm not telling you off for the sake of telling you off. I'm telling you off because you're not putting in the effort that's required for you to get what you're paying for. So what's the quickest way of doing that? Is it me giving you a nice little rub on the back? Oh, it's okay. We'll get there eventually. You keep making your payments and, eventually we'll get there, blah, blah, blah. Or do you want the honest truth? Like, this is what you need to do. Do it or don't bother.
Yeah.
But if someone comes to you with a dream,
there's no shortcuts.
Yeah, and it's like someone comes to you with a dream and they want to look some way or be some way or whatever. And like, if you're fucking up all the time, I have to tell you that you're fucking up all the time. Like, you're the one that's put your time, your effort into me. And with a lot of those people, if you don't tell them, it's like they get to the end of it and they're like, nah, I'm going to stop because I'm not getting the results. And then they just go off and they're like, oh, I worked with this person. Like, they couldn't really get me to this point. Like, and it's like, mate, it wasn't really on me at the end of the day. It's on you. Like,
I've had
Most
some
of the time,
shit.
the vast majority of the time it's because people don't follow plans and they don't put
yeah,
enough effort. And that's why they didn't. And they blame the coaches, right? It happens all the time. We all know it.
Yeah.
Most coaches talk to each other, and at some point, we've all had those clients, and it is what it is. That's just life. Some people
Yeah.
can't hack it. Some people can't put in what's necessary to get
But it's
the
like, I
job
think
done.
the grass is going to be
Always
greener.
bounce from coach to coach until
But
they find the secret formula they're looking for that doesn't exist. It's just normal. But yeah, I just don't think like sugarcoating things. I just don't think it's the way to go. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not making people cry, but I'm just making sure that you understand that I'm serious about this, and I'm serious because of this reason. And because at the same time, as coaches, we put a lot of time and effort into clients. And when you see someone just really slacking, like being genuinely not caring and being lazy, that's insulting. That's my time. I can get someone else and get the money, not interested in that. Results, that's what we do this for. I want results. We build a business off results. If I wanted money, I'd go and do trading. I'll just sit there on a computer and do trading all day for money. Way easier than coaching. Yeah? But so it's like, I put a lot of effort and time into this, like at least show me the respect. And then when I sign people up, the first thing we say is like, if you are not genuinely ready to commit, this is what it's going to take financially, time, structure, lifestyle, all of these things. If you're not really genuinely ready to commit, don't bother. Like, save your money, get your life sorted out first, then come back to me.
Yeah.
And, and sometimes, most of the time that works out, and you end up you start that relationship off with a good level of honesty and understanding.
Yeah,
and
authority as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just all of these things. I just think, well, so far it's worked out well for me, and I'm getting good results, and clients stay on. So it must be working. I can't be that much of an asshole.
No, not wrong. Yeah, no. You got to find the balance in between, but it really depends on who you're dealing with. When someone comes to you and they say they want to compete, you can't not be hard. If you're getting Gen Pop lifestyle kind of transformations, you do have to find the way. I feel like half the battle of the coach is trying to find ways to navigate their lifestyle circumstances. Because I'm not going to get a lifestyle client to say, you got a wedding this week and I don't give a shit, go take your Tupperware. You know what I mean? Yeah. They got a friends dinner on Saturday night. I'm not going to say, hey, you got to not eat while you're there. Go and enjoy. If you're in prep, it's a whole different conversation. Like, obviously with the lifestyle clients, so I'm like, all right, this is what it could mean, but like, I wouldn't want to take it away from you. When it's a prep, it's like, no.
Like, in a prep situation, it would be like, okay, so this prep is the next 4 months. Don't plan anything. Simple as that. Have you got anything planned? And they say, oh, actually, there's a wedding booked here. And I was like, okay, we'll plan for it. You can maybe get away with it if it's far enough out.
Yeah.
But usually it would be like, don't do a show unless you know you can commit to the show. If you've got 2 holidays, a wedding, and bloody a funeral on the way to the show, then just choose a different show.
Yeah. That's a problem we have here, though.
As far as the communication is concerned between someone on prep and a lifestyle client, of course, you have to have that. That's a skill. I think that's one of the big skills in coaching, is being able to communicate with people based on, their lives and their situations, and being very flexible with that. I know I can be a bit harder with you because you're able to take that on board and you understand why. Whereas some people might need me to just be a little bit softer, and they might be basically more beginners. And they need a little bit more of a softer approach of getting used to the daily habits and things. Everything's brick by brick. But for someone like you, who I expect to have all of your bricks stacked, ready to rock and roll, then I can be a little bit harder as far as how we get through those walls. But it's just part of the skill of the coaching. But I like that, to be honest. It'd be boring having the same conversation all day, every day, wouldn't it? I like talking to different personalities and different people. It keeps me on my toes. Keeps me on my toes.
Yeah, because if you I did find a lot of the time. So I was doing the weekly calls like we've spoken about before, because it became so just data collection. The conversation did become repetitive, and it became very like, all right, we need to focus on the processes here rather than these conversations, which is why I made that change. So that's where it becomes engaging to have like a range of clients as well. You know what I mean? That was one instance of that helping as well. Yeah. But
I want females actually. I want to try and get more females on board, but I think the girls are scared of me.
Yeah, I got a good range. I got a good range of females.
They look at me and they're like, "He's not the one."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "I am. I'm the one. I'm the one." I've been dying to get a few bikini girls. I'd get them absolutely in great shape. So many.
The perk of having the perk of
good
your the perk of your niche is you can create those really strong communities like you have. I probably have as many girls as I do guys. I like coaching girls, to be honest. But the thing is as well, the girls that I do get are tougher, as in just tougher personalities, not tough to deal with, like, but they want it. You know what I mean? Very few are like lifestyle.
They can usually take a lot. They're a lot more resilient than guys in most cases. Even from physiological standing point as well. You know, they can recover quicker. They can take more punishment. You can put them in way deeper deficits. You can make them suffer more. Chicks are tough, real tough. And you know, if you use that to your advantage and you do that in the right way, then you can produce a lot of really, really good physiques. But
for sure.
Yeah, the only thing I don't really love about coaching bikini girls is just they're just a little bit more of a blur. The lines are way more blurred when it comes to like competition standards. That's the only thing. Yeah, like I got a few girls doing. Obviously, I got a couple doing season A, and I'm bringing them in. Well, season A being April shows. I'm going to bring them into as best shape as I can, but there is a chance that on the day that they're going to say, "No, that's not what we want." Not the girls, the judges,
and there's
then
never a really set look either for bikini.
No, and then it's sort of just
and
like,
at the end
well,
of the day, it's kind of 50% of it's a beauty pageant.
Yeah, I know.
So it's just you gotta just it's a tough one. It really is. I mean, you
that's
look at the
just annoying.
You know, all of a sudden they choose Maureen over Laurie for the Olympia, and I'm like, wow, in what world does that make sense? Like if you look at it from a physique point of view,
because like
from everything, Laurie's like a stone cold.
Oh, that's bikini.
Like she's one of the hottest women in the world. Plus, she's actually got a genuinely athletic bikini physique, like top notch. Like she was dialed in, and they went with Maureen, who, like, no offense, looks great, but to me, she looks more like a sort of beach model girl. Not an athlete.
Yeah, but they also want to.
That's a very fine line. That's probably sounds a bit harsh. I'm not anti Maureen. Like she looks incredible and she's smoking hot. But side by side, to me, it was night and day. Like it just wasn't. It wasn't close. Maureen maybe somewhere in the top 5, but as far as the look that had won up until that year, there was no indication that they were looking for a different look. So Laurie just brought that more improved version of her previous win, and somehow that didn't win. I don't understand that. To beat the champ, you need to beat the champ, right? You need to really beat the champ. And she was even better than she was the year before.
I know, and so it's like you're beating the champ, and it's like you're changing the criteria to beat the champ. Like
it's like sense. They just, you know like what, you didn't really beat the champ, but we changed our minds on what we're looking for, so you lost by default.
Yeah, so imagine working towards that across years, and then you get told on the day, sorry, like you're not what we want anymore. But that's what I mean. Like I've had girls into get into really good shape. Like even Isabel got into quite good shape. I'm not saying she should have won, but the girl who did win, with all due respect, she was not even in the top 10, in my view. You know what I mean? If you put that in an IFBB standard, she was fat. You know what I mean?
It's a really tough division to figure out what they're looking for, and so and especially in the amateur leagues, it must be a nightmare because the competition is so deep as well. There's so many girls competing.
The natural feds are worse. You never know what you're getting.
Physique as well, you know. So many guys. They barely get a look in. They have like 10 lineups, and they just go, okay, turns, okay, next lineup. So they haven't really had a chance to really look at you. You know, so unless you're well known, you've paid your dues, you've done enough shows that you're kind of, you know, that everyone knows your name and they expect you to be in that top 5. Until you're in that position, you're not going to get a look. You just got to keep competing to build the profile, it seems, rather than it being based on the physique. It's only based on physique once you're well known enough to actually get a look. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Whereas that's why I love bodybuilding. I'm a bit of a purist, but I love bodybuilding because the physique doesn't lie, does it?
Yeah.
Like very, very, very like there's obviously been plenty of shows where we can say, that guy should have won, you know, or that guy was that in second, he looked like he was. It's usually very close in the top 3. Very close. You could usually argue it either way. There's been a couple of shady decisions I've seen, to be honest, but very rarely. Most of the time, a freaking good physique wins.
Yeah.
Not just because of a name or a certain look. It's just, this is bodybuilding. You need the whole package.
Yeah, he's
You need
big,
the
he's
muscle, you
nice,
need the
he's
condition, you need the symmetry, you need the pose, and you need everything. You fuck up on one of those things, that's why you didn't win. Simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're huge on walking the walk as well. You've said it a million times as a coach.
Yeah, I'm big on it. People probably getting tired of me saying it now, but
Yeah.
you know, we both know a few people that are doing things way beyond what they're supposed to be doing, and they haven't yet walked that walk. And I find it very, very frustrating, because there's so much to be learned from walking the walk. It's like people want to rush past the walk and get straight to the end result or the end financial benefit of whatever it might be. But walking the walk, the learning process, there's so much gold to be taken from that. It really is, from everything, whether you're a coach or an athlete, whatever, just lifestyle. Like this, walking the walk and really living it, living that experience over and over again, reproducing looks over and over again for yourself, for your clients, whatever it might be, is that goes beyond any fucking certificate that you can pay for in any course or college or university you've sat through for years. Nothing will ever beat experience in this world in bodybuilding.
At the bare minimum as well, you can't relate to a client if you haven't, like, if you're prepping a client, you haven't prepped yourself. How the hell are you able to resonate with what they're currently going through? Like, I wouldn't work with a coach who hasn't prepped themselves. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you have to have gone through some actual real life to you know, have you gotten yourself into shape and worked multiple jobs that you hated at the same time? You know, have you been through these situations where you get super sick or family members die, or you've got travels and weddings and holidays and all of these normal, like, everyday lifestyle experiences that your lifestyle clients are going through? Like, I'm fortunate enough that I've had a pretty, you know, decent, well, a shitload of life experience in all these different things. And that really helps me when it comes to coaching people and going through the bodybuilding and the dieting and the muscle building while working multiple jobs and all of that stuff. It just makes you just able, like you say, you're able to really relate with your clients, and it just makes it the service better.
Yeah.
And when it comes to prep, when we're talking about prep, then I think that's just an unconditional thing that should be essential. Like, if you cannot prep someone if you've never done a prep, end of story.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Spot on.
Like, there's a level of understanding in those later stages of prep that you need to experience.
Yeah. In fairness, though, not many people do preps unless they have prepped. Admittedly, as well, you can walk the walk as much as you want, but some of the guys just walk the walk and then they neglect the whole educational side of it as well. That's a whole nother conversation of neglect, in my opinion. Like, that's not good either.
I mean, you've got to have some knowledge. I mean, we can all say it's all anecdotal and it's all experience, but you need to be able to back some of that stuff up, right? You have to. It's all comes part of the business. Those things should come hand in hand anyway. It's very difficult to just go one way and completely neglect the other one. Like, it's almost impossible. You have to try really hard.
Yeah, I know.
You want to be a good bodybuilder and not know anything about bodybuilding, like, that's a difficult thing to do, right?
It's luck.
Agree.
You know, at some point you're gonna be learning stuff, you know, whether it's deep dive in depth stuff or whatever, but you're gonna be picking stuff up along the way. And so it's just it all comes together. It's all part of that package, and I think that's where the walk in the walk, the experience, the time in the game really makes, you know, the best coaches, and that's why the best coaches in the game are these guys that have been there consistently smashing it out for years and years and years. And they're, you know, like the guys that, you know, John and Calum and Luke, you know, they've been there in the trenches crushing it over and over again for years, and that's why they're good. They have the experience. You know, they constantly keep topping up the information as it gets drip feeded in.
I feel like the biggest thing as well with the coach is I stand by the idea. Your coach needs to want you to succeed as much as you do. Some of the coaches around where I am, they couldn't give a fuck. Yeah. Well, I've seen one local coach put someone up on stage who was like as fat as I am right now. You know what I'm talking about, James?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, man, he put him on stage and he looked like me. Right? Like, I wouldn't even get on stage looking like I do. Like, I couldn't. That's fucking embarrassing. Like, the fact that he said, "Yeah, this is good," chuck a 10 on him is just like, what? You know what I mean?
They want some pictures. Oh, look how happy and proud my client looks on stage with a tan. Let's put some good lighting on so they look respectable.
Yeah.
And then we'll post that picture. People don't give a shit, you know, and so a lot of these real high profile coaches, they won't give a shit unless you know, unless you're somebody, unless you're somebody popular enough to make them look good, they won't give a shit about you. You know, and that is just the reality. But that's your responsibility to find a coach that's right for you.
Yeah.
Because if you go to these guys just because of their name and their profile and you go, okay, here's my money, I'm not going to ask any questions, you must be the best and you're going to make me amazing, you're going to turn me pro in 5 minutes and you're going to give me a sponsor, and all of this is what, you know, what people think. If that's what you think, but you haven't really genuinely thought about what is the actual best service that you need for yourself right now, where you are in the sport, that's on you. That's your responsibility. That's your, you know, your fault. And you've got to learn the hard way sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I feel like it's a coach's responsibility as well to sort of say, no, this is not happening for you right now. It's a hard conversation to have. Yeah.
A lot of those guys will quite happily, like you said, like James said before, is it really the coach that's doing the coaching? Is it deputy coaches? Is it coach? You know, a lot of the time they're just watching the money coming in. They're like, oh, well, business is good, so they're good.
Yeah. Who cares if some people fall off?
They focus on the 10% as well.
And if you think you're like, oh, this is not the communication level I'm looking for, this is not the service that I'm paying for, stop paying for it.
Yeah.
Just stop and move on.
Yeah.
You know, I've been with this guy for 6 months now, and I'm you know, I've barely spoken to him. And I'm not really getting anywhere. I'm like, why are you still paying?
Yeah.
I had a girl start with me, and in her first check-in, she was like, I can't believe how good the communication was. And to be fair, I actually thought my communication was pretty poor for the first week, because that was my last week of the calls. And I remember reading it and thinking, I've messaged her, like, there's been like 3 message exchanges. If she's thinks that good, what was the person that she was with for 6 months doing? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like if I was talking to her every day flat out 1 week, I must have thought,
like
I would have thought, yeah, sweet. Yeah.
You and one of my other clients come from one of the same coaches, right? And it's sometimes the experience is so bad. You're just so happy to be with someone who seems like they care. And
you know,
obviously in your case, in that situation, you do actually give a shit and you're a good coach. So she must have just been like, oh, finally someone who gives
someone
cares,
who's
actually going to do a good job. So you can, like you say, you can only imagine how bad her previous experiences was. But unfortunately, that's
the worst part about the worst part about that experience that I had was it wasn't even like the delayed responses. Occasionally, you'll have a time where you'll miss a message or whatever. I'm sure you do it. We all do it. It was more like I get a reply 3 days later. I'd have asked 4 questions in the process, and 1 would be answered, and it'd be like, do I ask again? And then you ask again, you're waiting another 2 days. But that to me showed that you didn't give a shit. That's not busy. That's I don't care. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Busy is fuck, man. I'm so sorry. Here's a detailed breakdown of the questions you asked. Yeah. I don't care is you don't reply for 3 days and it's still 2-word answer.
It's just shit because it's like, how hard is it to pick up your phone, click record and go, blah, 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 blah. Here's the answer to your questions. Stop calling, send.
Or even just, hey, mate, I'm busy at the moment. Seconds. I'll get back to you by the end of the day. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. People respect it. Yeah. Sometimes, or like, hey, mate, that's a bit of a more complex thing. I'll get back to you later. I do that all the time. Hey, man, I need a couple of minutes to work you through that. Just give me a couple of hours. I'm just doing check-ins.
You just take these experiences and you just, you learn what not to do, right?
Yeah.
Just makes you a better coach because you've seen the worst side of it.
Like I said, sort of something to touch on. I've got, because you're my 4th coach, and I think all 4 did differently. So like, what was it? My first coach was I did calls with him every week, but it was whenever he felt like it. And there was no real support outside the call. Second one was scheduled call every week, no support outside the call. So no messaging outside the call. Third one was essentially like you submit a check-in, but the feedback was lackluster and delayed, and the communication was bad. And with you, it's obviously you submit your check-in, and then whenever you sort of need to ask a question, you drop the message, book in a call if you feel like we need to do it. We do that. Maybe do a call every 4 to 6 weeks. Do you reckon?
Whatever you want, whenever you feel like, actually that's need a good half an hour sit down. That's
typically when we do it.
We're going through like a new stage or a redo a roadmap or something, and it needs a little bit more of a conversation.
Yeah.
then yeah. And or if it's one of them where you know what, I just kind of want to have a chat. I'm
Mm.
just like,
Just
sure,
sort of get
book
your
a
head
time.
back
If I've
on.
got time, if there's time in the calendar, you book it in and we get it done.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's voice messages, which are basically a conversation anyway. If you want to go over something and ask,
Mm-hmm.
like, it's just like James said, it doesn't take much to answer your phone and send a
Yeah.
voice message
Not
reply
at all.
Mm-hmm.
and just there. Customer
Mm.
service. It doesn't take much. If you give a shit, that's not an issue. You
Yeah.
know, unless I'm in the
My,
middle of
mhm.
something, you know, if
My
my phone's
mm,
off or whatever, or I'm on a call,
mhm,
that's going to be pretty much the only time something is delayed.
mhm.
Honestly,
The my point there was going to be more like the delivery method across the four. It did not make a difference how it was delivered if they didn't care. They could have sat on the phone with me for an hour. How they delivered that to me, my feedback, it didn't matter how they did it. If they didn't care, it was crap. Do you know what I mean?
you can feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can tell. You can just
Yeah.
tell. You're like,
Mm.
this guy actually genuinely wants me to do good.
Yeah.
And
Exactly right.
if I don't feel that in the
Mhm,
first month, like this
mhm,
guy seems to be building like something, like
mhm,
he's remembering things, he cares, and he actually seems to be interested in this process.
mhm,
If I don't get that feeling, and you know, in a few
mhm.
weeks to a month at the most, then it's gonna be like, see ya.
Yeah. Yep.
You know?
No, you're right as well, because even it's like noting on that too, you can typically, I try to get to know all my clients, a little bit about them. I try to touch base with all of them through the week. The ones that don't touch base with me, most of them touch base with me, but the occasional ones that don't. And I feel like they love hearing from me. Do you know what I mean? Like it's sort of like, yeah, sweet, like he's on me, he cares, because I do. Um, and I've been in situations before where like coaches I'd bring up something like 4 weeks later and be like, oh, when did that happen? It's like, mate, I've told you 3 times. Do you know what I mean? It's like you forget things, but when it's like little things that should be remembered, it's like, mate, I've told you this like fucking how
Yeah.
many times are you not remembering it? And that's just like telltale. The person just,
Yeah, there'll be some
I
things
don't
like
know.
very detailed things where like if I haven't
Yeah,
got my notes with me, or if I'm not looking at that client's
yeah,
profile, and
hmm
I'll be like, fuck, what was your blood pressure last week? Do you know what I mean? If you
man,
have to remember
yeah,
something
Yeah,
super
but something like
specific,
that's different.
or if it's like one of those one-off random things that's just not part of the normal cycle of
hmm
the norm,
hmm
and it's like those one random little things, and you're like,
hmm
fuck yeah, there was that little thing.
hmm
But hey, it doesn't take much to just to sort of go back and cover that. And if the timing of the communication is
hmm
frequent enough, then that never really becomes an issue anyway. If you need to
yeah,
check your notes and be reminded of something,
hmm
but you're on the phone to each other, every couple of days or whatever, then there's not enough time there in
hmm
between for that to become an issue if it was an issue for whatever that might
Yeah.
be.
hmm
Whereas if you're only hearing from your coach,
hmm
once every couple of weeks and it's a half-assed message, and it's like, well, a lot can go wrong in a couple of weeks if that is something that really did need addressing.
Yeah.
hmm
If
No,
it's
I
something
agree.
that didn't really need addressing and it's only a couple of days before you do address it, then no big deal,
hmm
right?
Yeah, no, agreed.
For sure.
Yeah.
In general,
hmm
like James said, it doesn't take much just to answer your phone and respond to messages or say, look, super busy right now. Let's just book in a
hmm
call. Let's schedule this in where we
hmm
can go over it in detail when I've got time.
Yeah, it also depends to
It's
what
covered.
extent the question is as well. I feel like.
Most of the time, like
mm
it's not like every day you get in a question like, fuck, my kidneys are falling out my ass. Help.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, it'd be like,
Yeah.
Mike, my dick's not working, bro. And I'll be like, let's take a bunch of dick pills, bro. And he's like,
You're
oh,
right, man.
do you know what I mean?
The
Yeah,
word,
that's
yeah.
true.
I'm kidding, dude, I'm
Occasionally,
kidding. But
yeah.
usually it's a question or an inquiry where
Yeah.
you should have the knowledge base to be able to answer that on the fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not much you get asked where you don't already know the answer,
Yeah.
unless
Yeah.
it's
Mm,
very individual specific, and it's something where you do need to refer to some notes based
Yeah.
on maybe
mm,
blood work or something like
Yeah.
that. I
mm.
can't remember everyone's blood work markers. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
It's
You
like
know
someone,
what?
oh yeah, I'll
Yeah.
be like, did I have you on this for liver enzyme? Yeah, yeah, you already told me that a couple of weeks ago to start taking that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm on the go. I'm in the car right now. Like,
Mm,
I don't have my
mm,
laptop with me. I'm just double checking. I would rather ask twice to make
mm,
sure of something than not
mm,
ask at all. If something pops into my head and I think about a client and something, and I'll be like, shit, did I ask them that? Did I already tell them to do this? I would rather, I'm more than comfortable enough to ask again to say, hey, did I tell you to do this? Now, whether you think that sounds unprofessional or not, what's unprofessional is not caring and not asking in the first place. I would rather ask twice and be sure of something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Agreed.
You know, as long as you explain that, you know, I might be on the road for a couple of days or something like that, and I'd be like, fuck, did I send that email?
Exact same.
Like these things happen.
Yeah. We might wrap that there. Did you want to flick across what was your Instagram handle?
At Bodybuilding with Aaron.
Okay,
That's
cool.
it.
And
one word, Aaron, 2 ways.
If you're watching this in 4 weeks' time, it'll be at IFBB Pro Aaron Burke.
At IFBB Pro
underscore
IFBB
Aaron Burke.
Pro Aaron underscore Aaron massive overall champ. Fire emoji. sword trophy emoji.
Quick link in bio for me to turn you pro.
Yeah, that's it. My price has just doubled overnight.
Yeah. Get
Buy
away
my
with
merch.
it.
I've got merch now.
Just contact my PA for inquiries.
I can't wait to change it to IFBB Pro, but I'm not gonna change my Instagram name. I'm just gonna put it below
in the
below.
bio.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I know.
I'm not changing my name. So IFBB
bodybuilding
Pro,
bodybuilding with IFBB Pro Aaron.
Nah, mine would go. Mine would
it'll take you 5 minutes to type it.
Michael IFBB Pro underscore coaching collective. I would be right on that.
Yeah, you would. Definitely.
Yeah, I fucking would.
You have it tattooed on that shiny head of yours.
Yeah, I reckon too. In fact, they were polishing it last night, eh? Yeah.
Yeah, fingers crossed though. A few more weeks, and fingers crossed I'll be able to hold up the card. But you never know. Last time they had I was helping Jason over here peak for the last pro qualifier here. And some Chinese guy showed up who was pretty good. And it was a one point decision, and Jason came in second. So close. I was gutted. I was in the crowd going wild, obviously, you know, when someone go for a pro card. And but it was a good show. It was put on quite well. But you never know who's going to show up to these ones. Like
you don't.
It's an easy place for people to travel. Anyone can travel to Thailand pretty easily, but like visa wise. So you never know. You might have some giant guys from the Middle East. You might have some guys from China. You might have some guys from Europe. You just never know. And you never. The only time you really know is like a week out when you start seeing these monsters show up to the gym. You know, at the beginning of peak week, and you're like, and then sizing each other up in the gym. Like I saw a guy the other day. He was a guy from Australia. The what are they called? The Australian Sports Nutrition, ASN or something like that.
Yeah, that's it. Brand. Yeah.
Their team, the owner of them, he brings over his store managers to Thailand for a few days on these little work trips. So I always see them in the gym like once every few months. There's a few of them, and this big dude walks in, 6'5", friggin' chest and shoulders out. I'm like, Jesus Christ, he's big. And I'm like, oh fuck, I bet he's here for the show. So I just went straight over to him. I was like, all right, mate, how's it going? You know, I'm Aaron, welcome. I haven't seen you here before. Are you just passing through? Are you here for the show? And he's like, oh, no, mate, I'm just over here with the sports nutrition, just here for a few days and then moving on. And I'm like, fuck for that. I was like, good to meet you. See ya. Back to leg day.
See you later, mate.
Yeah, just checking.
You
know,
so what's
the nerves kick in?
Of course. What's the show called?
The IFBB Pro Qualifier Bangkok, I guess. Bangkok.
Oh, cool. So it's not like they haven't titled it or anything like that.
No, it's not like just NPC
Nothing
Bangkok, IFBB Pro Thailand, whatever it is. Yeah, standard. Yeah. There's a regional on the 18th, and then there's the Pro Qualifier on the 19th. And fingers crossed that all goes well. Either way, I know I will already look my best based on my current look and how things are trending. I'm going to look the best I've ever looked. So it's going to be a big win anyway.
You're coping pretty well.
If I don't get the card, what I will do is the week after, there's a PCA show in Bangkok as well. And I'm half tempted just to do that, just for a little bit of extra stage time and one more week in between shows, just to, you know, play around with another method. Yeah, it gives Calum again another chance to just maybe try a few little different things. Next time when we do a big show at the end of the year, we have all of these tools in the bag that we know work or don't work.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win either way, and it's like $40, and it's around the corner from where I live. So I'm like, one more week.
you put in all this work, you'd be stupid not to do an extra one anyway. Even if it was 400.
for sure.
Yeah, like, yeah.
There's no big deal. So I'll probably end up doing that one, unless I win the card, in which case I can compete in other federations.
Yeah, of course.
Sure.
So yeah, hopefully in a few weeks we can do another show.
Talk about
the experience of.
Let's not. We won't put this up for 3 weeks, because then in the title we can put IFBB Pro Aaron Burke.
Hey.
Newbie,
So just hold back on it. You know what? Or we can just put IFBB Pro Aaron Burke in it now.
Soon to
predicting he's going to win it.
Yeah, what's that called?
Why not?
Manifesting.
It's manifesting.
Manifest your destiny. But yeah, I mean, either way, it'd probably be an interesting. Just what I can do is just do a real deep dive into that whole peak week process leading up to the show, win or not. That makes for a good topic of conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I was going to say we've got so much. There's heaps.
I'll talk about
anything.
Yeah. I don't hold back on anything, so we can do the full
we can do it again for sure.
In-depth peak week show. Talk about all the juicy stuff that people want to know, all the secrets that don't exist.
The super draw.
Yeah, it's basically
Atlantis. Yeah.
All of the super draw. Insulin loading, growth hormone loading. Yeah.
All the fun stuff. The secrets. That's what people want to hear.
Secrets,
yeah.
Burger and fry secrets.
Yeah.
That's it, mate.
All right. Well, thanks for jumping on, guys. We'll do it again soon.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
See you again.